Hey, how's it going? I'm Jeff, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing my experiences using Things, specifically Things version 3, and I'm going to be diving into basically the pros, the cons, and of course, the roadblocks that I ran into and why I won't be using it as my main task manager. But, there are some good benefits to it as well. So let's just jump into all those things. I'm just going to dive into it real quick, make this a quick video, and let me know in the comments below if any of this stuff resonates with you or if I'm crazy. So with that being said, let's just jump into the pros. First off, the redesign looks very good. I'm very happy with it. They removed design elements that were not needed. They got rid of all those extra lines, all those gradients, all that kind of stuff. Version 2 looked very outdated, one of those early 2000s type of software, something that you would refer to as software, not an app. It really had that outdated look to it. Very old Mac OS style. So I was really pumped to see the redesign. I really was. I thought it was clean. When I first saw it, I was like, this looks really clean. It looks really minimal. It has a very Zen-like feeling to it, very meditative. I definitely could see this UI helping people that have a lot of anxiety associated with their task management. If you find yourself going into your task manager with a lot of anxiety and you feel like you're overwhelmed, well, this might help a little bit with that. And of course, we can't forget the animations. I thought they were great. They're very subtle. You may not notice them at first. They're definitely there, and I gotta hand it to the team. They just look great. I'm gonna start off with the first aspect of things that I really love, and that is including the getting things done or GTD methodology. They don't add everything from it, but they add a good amount, and I would say not only do I like the sidebar views, but I love that they included areas. I think areas in a task manager is crucial. There are so many apps out there that don't have areas, and I'll be honest, it drives me crazy. Like, how can you realistically have a task manager and all you have is projects? You might get lucky, you might find an app where there's folders as well. But I mean, come on, our life is full of context. There are different areas of our lives that encompass different projects. There are sub-projects. Sometimes things overlap even, and a lot of apps don't even address that factor. So I, of course, was super pumped to see areas in this app. I think every app should have areas. I wish there were more areas. I wish they had sub areas too. It'd be nice to have a personal area and then have like a sub personal area for like the different areas in your personal life, and then have your projects. That would be really nice. But I'm not going to nitpick it too much. Having areas inside of a task manager is awesome. It's fantastic. And I wish more other apps would do it. I also really like that they included the logbook and trash bin in the sidebar views, just in case maybe you completed a task from a couple days ago and you can no longer use a keyboard shortcut to undo it, but you want to go back really quickly and just drag it back into a project or reschedule the task. Having that logbook view on the side just makes it super fast, super easy. In the trash view, just only appearing when there's something in it, but then disappearing when there's no task in the trash after you've cleared it. Super smart, super intuitive. I'm glad they added those things. Something else I really liked about Things that I really don't think I've seen in another app, which is when things move from the upcoming view for your scheduled tasks into the today view, you see like a yellow flash header at the top of the screen, letting you know that tasks have been added to the today view since you've last visited the app. I think this is really crucial in terms of giving the user more context. I'm all for it. I wish more apps would follow suit in this kind of informative design, but it's a cool little thing. Some people probably could care less about it. Some people probably think it adds too much to the screen, but I like it. You click OK, it goes away, not a big deal. So real quick, I'm just gonna wrap up the rest of the pros to the app. I really love that they separated scheduled dates from due dates. I think that is crucial. I think that every app should be doing that. Just because you're scheduling to do something doesn't mean that it's due that day. And there are so many apps that I even use on a day-to-day basis that don't have that feature. And it just honestly drives me nuts. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way, but it just drives me crazy. So I want to give them props for that. And some more things that I really liked is having tags in the inbox. Of course, you can't have a task assigned to a project in the inbox, but having tags to a task in an inbox just adds a little bit more context that a lot of apps don't let you do for an inbox view. I think that that's great. I love that you can add section headers to projects, gives a little bit more context to maybe the state of things, which just allows you to add a little bit more context to projects without necessarily adding subtasks or tags. And I think the iOS app looks very nice. Plus those gestures just seem very futuristic. So mad props to the team for that as well. So with that being said, let's move on to the cons, and I'm just gonna dive right into it. The iOS app looks nice, but it is slow. I don't know the reason for it, but it just is. In terms of what things lacks in features, I really can't justify the price. Sure, you pay one time, and I guess if you plan to use the app for over a year, the price can make more sense for you, but in terms of lack of features, the fact that there's no free version, you have to use a trial, then after that you're forced to pay. Or you could, I guess, technically remove the app and reinstall it to get another free trial, but of course you lose all your data and you have to like export it, then re-import it. So the workaround hack for that wouldn't even be worth it in my opinion. It just doesn't make any sense that there's no free version of this app. And I really think the reason why that is because there just isn't enough features there. And what bugged me in terms of the UI is just that everything was very limited and you couldn't customize anything. You can't rearrange views on the sidebar, you can't hide them. The whole interface is very tiny, it feels very small. I wish there was an option to make the UI a little bit larger so that everything didn't seem like it was microscopic on the screen. I wish the select a date widget wasn't so tiny. I wish the subtasks weren't so small. I mean, the whole entire app just feels very tiny, and that might be great for some power users. If you have a lot of tasks, you have a small display, I get it, I'm fine with that. But just give us the option to make it larger. I don't think it's asking for too much. I thought the little pie progress bar charts next to each project were cool and they were very subtle, but in my opinion, they weren't useful and they were just really distracting, specifically because I wasn't using projects necessarily as an actual project that would be finished. I was actually using projects more like sub areas. I also felt the integrations and things were just lacking altogether. I mean, they had the calendar integration, which is nice in terms of putting things in the same place, but I mean, when you really look at those calendar events, you can't do anything with them. You click on them, they just open up the Apple Calendar app. It's almost like there's no point in them even being there except just letting you know, hey, this is another place to help make sure you don't forget about these calendar events. But it's like if you're checking your calendar every day, it's just kind of like a joke, you know what I mean? There's no two-way sync, so you can't edit them inside of things. You have to edit them in your calendar app, so that kind of makes it more pointless. And the fact that you can't even drag and drop these calendar events in between your tasks inside of things, it's like, well, it's basically just a micro window into your calendar. It doesn't actually blend in and integrate in actuality into your task manager. It's just kind of there, pinned at the top as a reminder, hey, don't forget these tasks, don't be an idiot, yada, yada, yada. Nothing more than that though. And the app was missing quite a good amount of features. I was actually quite surprised the more I started using things, like how many things they were actually missing. No pun intended, but yeah, pun intended as well. Like they're missing filters, which I get it, that's more of an advanced feature, but I mean, come on, like even Remember the Milk has filters. Remember the Milk, they have filters. You know, the app that took forever to update, they have filters. I mean, a lot of apps have filters. Yeah, I can understand that they didn't want to make it too complicated for the user, but just tuck it away in the settings. You don't have to push filters in people's faces, but I mean, there should be some form of filters in this app, as well as obviously customizing the sidebar. There's also no priority levels, which it's not a huge game changer for me, but I could see it being a problem for other people. And then also Francesco made another good point in his video. You can't add multiple comments to a task. It's just one long description field. And I mean, that's nice for simplicity purposes, depending on what you're doing for that task. But if you want to have a log of things, like you want to have the date and time and log of comments, you know, things that you want to add to the task to keep track of things, especially if the task is going to last a long time, you need those individual comments. You need those dates, you need those times, you need that logging. And I think in things, when you remove that stuff, it definitely can hurt task management for a lot of people. Another thing that I wish things had was the ability to look at your stats. I know it's not always included in a task manager, but I think in the year 2019, moving forward, I think every app should have some type of analytics for yourself. I mean, you're paying money for this thing, you're putting your time into this app. The app should be able to give you something back in return. So it wasn't a huge game changer for me not having it, but at the same time, if I'm going to be investing a lot of time into some software, giving them my time, giving them my money, sending them support tickets, giving them suggestions on how to fix things, reporting bugs, you know, you're really putting in a lot of time, a lot of your energy into helping out these apps. And it'd be nice to get something in return for that. And one more con for the list, which was the inability to change the completion date for a task that's already been completed. Now, this is something that is not as common. I've seen it in a couple apps, but the reason why I'm bringing it up here for things is because if you open up the logbook in your sidebar, you actually have the ability to drag and drop those tasks that are already completed. Wouldn't it make more sense to be able to drag and drop them into a different date so that way you can change the date for them? I tried doing it, I couldn't get it to work. Maybe it's a glitch, but as far as I'm concerned, there was no way to change the completion date for a task. It's just something that they were so close to adding to the app, and I'm like, now let's get to my personal issues when it comes to the negatives of this app. The first thing on the list is the lack of a activity log. I know not everyone cares about this, but when I'm using an app, I want to be able to see the history of everything that I do. I want to know the dates that I changed, I want to know what was deleted, I want to know what was completed, I want to know when those things happened, I want to know who did those things, and I want to know how many times I did those things, even if it sounds crazy, even if it sounds like redundant or it sounds useless, just in case you make a mistake or something happens, or maybe you change the date by accident. It just gives you that extra layer of comfort, that extra layer of safety, just in case something goes wrong. Now, the reason why they probably don't have an activity log, which leads me to my next point, is the complete lack of collaboration inside of things. I was really shocked. Some people on Reddit were defending Things 3 and saying that it can add some extra bloat. Now, I understand that logic on paper, but there's plenty of apps out there like Remember the Milk and Todoist where you almost forget that those apps even have collaboration built in until you actually see like the avatar of someone else next to a task. You can easily forget that those features are even in those apps. So I really don't think that the bloat excuse really works here. At the very least, there should be a stage inside of Things for delegated tasks or tasks that you're waiting on for other people to do, to hear back from people. It still could be non-collaborative, but just having that extra stage, letting you know you have to wait on these things would have made a huge difference. And I'm sure if I brought this up to their attention, they would just tell me to use tags. And I don't think tags are a replacement for stages, for views inside of your task manager, but that's just me. Let me know if you disagree or not. Now, the next feature that was missing from Things 3, which drove me absolutely crazy, is the lack of file attachments. And I know you can link to attachments outside of the app, but let's face it, that's not really a feature. I found myself wanting to add attachments all the time, adding photos, references, things to deal with later, especially inbox items, not being able to do them and just having to go back to Todoist for those specific tasks. The next big issue that I had with Things, and it's something that Francesco even brought up in his video, which is the inability to add times to tasks. I could not believe this when I first found this out. I was like, are you kidding me? I can't add times to my tasks? Things lets you bring in your calendar events, but I can't add times? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, that was a deal breaker for me. As soon as I realized that, I was like, I'm probably not gonna be using this much longer, to be honest with you. And lastly, the biggest problem that I had with Things was the way that they handled the GTD, or getting things done, elements of the app. I'm not going to go into it in this video because it's going to take a lot more time. Plus my arm is hurting me right now. I think I got to go to the gym and work out those biceps a little bit more so I can hold this gimbal. But yeah, so let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know what you think about Things. Are you using it now? Have you used it in the past? Are you planning on using it soon? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the things that I said. And also let me know if there's any other task managers out there that you want me to talk about, and if there's any that you want me to check out. I'm always trying new things, so I'm down to check out more apps. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And yeah, stay tuned for some more videos on my productivity ventures. Until next time, peace out.